Today marks 113 years of the sinking of the Titanic, and there were some very odd things that took place that most people don't even know about. Let's start with the book that predicted the sinking of the Titanic. 14 years before the Titanic sunk, there was a book that was written called Futility. Now, in this book, the ship was called the Titan, and it was described as unsinkable. It was 800 feet long and was the largest, most luxurious ship of the time. The Titanic was also described as unsinkable. It was 882 feet long and also was the largest, most luxurious ship of its time. Now, in the book, the Titan carried 2,500 passengers, crossing the North Atlantic and striking an iceberg on its starboard side in the middle of the night in April. The Titanic carried 2,200 passengers, crossing the North Atlantic, struck an iceberg on the starboard side at 11:40 p.m. in April. Both ships were warned of icebergs being in their path beforehand. Both of them also carried the minimum legal limit of lifeboats, which wasn't anywhere near enough for the amount of passengers that they had on board. This book was written 14 years before the Titanic sank. Now, when the Titanic sank, the author of the book, Morgan Robertson, skyrocketed to fame as being the man that predicted the disaster. People even hailed him as a clairvoyant, something that he fully rejected. That's because Morgan Robertson was the son of a captain. He grew up around ships and knew pretty much everything about them. And in the 1890s, all of the steamship lines were trying to do the same thing: be the biggest, fastest, and most luxurious ships of their time. Something that he would have naturally wrote about because that was the climate of the industry. Secondly, anybody that was sailing in the Northern Atlantic knew that icebergs were something that you had to look out for. So all in all, the book was just a grim, educated guess. What happened to the Titanic wasn't necessarily out of the ordinary, it was just the worst case scenario. But here are some other odd things. Even J.P. Morgan, the man that funded the Titanic, canceled his ticket last minute because he was sick, but was later seen in France with his mistress. To this day, people still suggest that he actually knew something. The universe was screaming at the Titanic, and nobody listened. It only had lifeboats for half the amount of passengers. By design. The crew ignored iceberg warnings, and the lookouts had no binoculars because somebody had forgotten the key to the locker that they were stored in. The story of the Titanic isn't about a ship sinking. It's about ignoring the signs. Warnings were given, iceberg alerts were received, and yet the ship sailed on, full steam ahead, because people believed it couldn't happen to them. 113 years later, and we still do this. In life, in leadership, we head towards danger because we believe we are too big to fail. It won't happen to us. But the truth is, the signs are always there. The real problem is when we choose to ignore them. The lesson about the Titanic isn't about how it sank. It's about how many chances we had to stop it and didn't. Nevertheless, the Titanic was a tragedy and many lost their lives. But when you really look into it, a lot of the issues were just a sign of the times being ignored. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and follow for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.